All right, so who's gonna win, DeSantis or Trump? Correct answer, no one knows. But we're gonna try to figure it out. We're bringing on former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh to talk about it. He's also the host of the White Flag with Joe Walsh podcast. Joe, welcome back.
Cenk, always good to be with you, my friend.
All right, so Joe, first, let me dispense with this. Does anyone not named Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump have a chance to win the Republican primary in 24?
No. If it's not going to be Trump, Cenk, it's going to be the Trumpiest person around. And right now, the only Trumpy person that registers with Republican voters besides Trump is DeSantis. Nobody else is even measuring in the polls.
Yeah, it's a lot of it early on is name recognition, although it's a little bit complicated with Trump because he also has tons of negative baggage with him, but not among Republicans, which is going to be the main part of the conversation. But you're right, every time I see cable news anchors talking about Liz Cheney, I laugh and laugh and laugh. Because in their cocktail circuit, Liz Cheney has a 97% approval rating. But in a Republican primary, it's going to be less than zero. So now, bringing it down between DeSantis and Trump, help us figure this out, because you got good polls like Emerson, et cetera, not like fly-by-night polls saying, no, Trump still has a 26-point lead nationwide among Republican primary voters. And there's a good number of polls with Trump still leading 20, 25, 30 points, right? And then you look at polls like New Hampshire, also a legitimate polling organization, and DeSantis has a 12-point lead in New Hampshire. Now, part of that is explained by the fact that it's New Hampshire and they pay more attention because they're one of the first primaries, they're the first primary. But there's still a bit of a mystery out there. So what do you make of those seemingly conflicting polls?
Well, first, just to comment on what you said a moment ago, yes, there is zero room in the Republican Party for never Trumpers like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, or myself. But people, Cenk, like Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Mike Pompeo, these people have no prayer, none. It's got to be, look, and you and I've said this before, maybe Trump is fading, though I don't think he is, but Trumpism is not fading. This is now firmly, my former party is now firmly the party of Trumpism. That means it's the party of cruelty, fear, authoritarianism, and sidling up to white supremacy. That's what this party is now. And DeSantis speaks to that better than anybody but Trump or Tucker Carlson.
Joe,
go ahead,
actually, before you go to the disparity on the polls, I want to say on that for one more second. I always wonder with the Mike Pompeos of the world, does he think he can win? Because people, they live in their own bubbles, and probably a lot of people are telling him, oh yeah, Mike, you got this, dog, right? Or is he running to be Secretary of State again, VP? What's the play here?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people like Pompeo, Haley, Cruz, pretty much everybody but DeSantis is assuming Trump won't stay in. And Cenk, they all know, like I believe, that DeSantis, once people see him on the stage, on the national stage, I don't think he's going to come across very well. And Pompeo believes that. Cruz believes that. Rubio believes that. They know DeSantis. They know he's weird with people. He's thin-skinned. He's not good on his feet. So their only play is Trump's out of the picture and they think they can beat DeSantis.
So what's the thesis for Trump being out of the picture? Because this whole idea of he'll be embarrassed so he won't run, that's already gone. He's already running and he's incapable of being embarrassed. So do they think getting indicted would get him out of the picture? But wait, wouldn't that make him more popular among Republicans?
Hell yes, Cenk, it's so funny that you asked me that. I had a former supporter of mine who's a pretty good Trump supporter still. He called me today, I picked up, and we started to talk, and I asked him, I said, I think Trump's gonna be indicted. I said, Steve, if Trump's indicted, will you still support him? He said what you just said. After a couple expletives, he said the deep state will never let go of Trump. If Trump is indicted, I will work even harder to get him reelected. I think an indicted Donald Trump is stronger within the Republican Party. But Cenk, look, they're all cowards, and I include DeSantis here. They're all cowards. For what, 7, 8 years, they've all been praying that somebody or something else will take Trump out. The January 6th committee, impeachment, because these guys have never had the courage to take Trump on and take him out themselves.
Okay, so that leads me to conclude that you're going to tell me the numbers that show Trump winning are more accurate. So Trump's Achilles heel, though, is electability. Now some Republicans are concerned. I love this guy. I love how vicious he is, but shoot, he might not win. Is that a real threat to Trump?
Yeah, and understand, and everybody, Cenk, listening to us right now needs to understand that every Republican who supports DeSantis is a Trump supporter. They all say the same thing. I love Trump, Joe. I want Trump, Joe, but maybe DeSantis can win. But they're all Trump supporters. So if DeSantis does run, and by the way, Cenk, I'm not even convinced he's going to run, but if he does run and he does fade, these are all Trump voters. So that is definitely there. That's the best thing DeSantis has going for him. But no, look, this is still Trump's thing. This is still his nomination. And all these talking heads on MSNBC and CNN and all the rest writing his political obituary, I think they're crazy.
Yeah, so but DeSantis does have that lead in New Hampshire, and people in New Hampshire do pay more attention. And so I wonder if it hurts Trump if he loses a couple of early primaries, if that compounds the electability issue, and Republicans really start to get nervous about Trump being able to win. But what doesn't help, Joe, is that a poll out last week had Trump beating Biden by 4 points. So if the Democrats are running Biden and he's so weak that he's losing to Trump, by running Biden, aren't the Democrats helping Trump win the Republican primary?
Yeah, by running Biden again, Cenk, they're erasing Trump's electability problem. I mean, just look at this classified docs issue. That had Trump by the rights, right? I mean, look what he did. And even though there are differences in what Trump did and Biden did, doesn't matter. Those differences do not matter. Now the classified documents, that whole issue with Pence too and Biden has strengthened Trump because now everybody does it. Yes, Donald Trump, I believe, and I'm hearing it from a lot of his supporters, Trump believes he can beat Biden, and a lot of his supporters increasingly believe he can beat Biden as well.
So, Joe, I never thought about this until this conversation. 66% of Republicans still believe that Joe Biden stole the election, that he didn't actually win. So, if 2/3 of Republican voters believe that Trump won last time, doesn't that also help get rid of his electability problem? Because they think, what do you mean? He's won 2 elections. He's the most electable guy in the world.
Well, it does and they do, and that 2/3 is low, Cenk. I think it's closer to like 80% deep down really believe it. Many Republicans are afraid to publicly say it, but they say it to me privately. Yes, but then again, that also goes to, because what I hear a lot from Republican Trump supporters is, Joe, the 2020 election was stolen, but man, if that's all we talk about, it's going to be harder to win in 2024. So that works both for and against Trump. And by the way, Cenk, if you've noticed Trump last weekend, he's trying his best to focus on the future, to look ahead. I think generally he's going to be pretty good about that in public.
Is there a single Republican tough enough to beat Trump?
No, and this is what just so freaking pisses me off. DeSantis isn't tough. None of them are. And Cenk, here's the catch-22 these cowards have all put themselves in. They all enabled him. They all created this monster, but now none of them can take the monster on because they know the monster has a great reservoir of support in the party. So again, they're all hoping and praying something else will take him out. None of them can go toe-to-toe with him on a stage. None of them.
Is there a single policy difference between DeSantis and Trump?
It's always hard with Trump because I don't even know really what Trump is when it comes to policy. But no, generally it's the same. It's the same white nationalism. Screw the rest of the world. Let's win all these culture wars and let's be a big bully. Generally, they both stand for the same thing.
Is there a single policy difference between a single candidate running for office or potentially running for president on the Republican side, other than the never Trumpers like Liz Cheney?
Yes. You will find if Pompeo runs, if Nikki Haley runs, you will find there will be Republicans like that who will say, as Pompeo said last week, we got to give Ukraine whatever they want and we have to win this war. This war ends when Ukraine wins it. That goes against Trump's non-interventionist, leave Ukraine alone kind of a tendency that's there in the Republican Party. So I think you'd see a fight on that whole Ukraine-Russia issue.
So we're back to a fight over Putin. Okay.
A fight over Putin. Yeah.
Great. That's the one policy difference in the Republican Party.
Jake, nothing. Domestically, there's zero policy difference domestically.
That's amazing. Okay. Here's what I get out of this conversation. Summarize, Joe. The only thing they have against Trump is electability. If Trump knocks that out by whether it's through polling or looking forward, etc., even the momentum DeSantis has will be reversed and Trump will win easily. Does that sound about right?
That's spot on, Jake. Deep down, they all believe and they all say he's a loser, Trump is, and he can never win again. They don't have the balls to say that publicly. And none of them will say he's unfit. They'll just kind of hint at he can't maybe win again. But that's it. That's their only objection.
All right, Joe Walsh, keeping it real. Okay, that's why I love these conversations. Make sure you check out White Flag with Joe Walsh. That's his podcast. I was on one of the episodes. You got to find that. Listen to that, isn't it?
That was a good conversation.
It was a great one. All right, Joe, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Keep it up.
You too.